It's me, Mario!
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to a very special bonus episode of the Overcast. I am your host, Justin, aka Oversoul, and I am joined once again by Nick, aka the Vaping Fiend.
Hello, everybody.
Today's episode is going to be a review of the new Super Mario Bros. Movie because we actually just went to the movie theaters earlier today to go see it. And this is opening weekend. And Nick is physically here with me hanging out, so he is going to be a part of today's conversation in the same room using the same microphone because I don't have more than one. So yeah, we went to the movies earlier today. We saw the new Mario Brothers movie, the animated one with Chris Pratt and Charlie Day and all them. And we rather enjoyed it. We wanted to talk about it. So this is not going to be like a normal podcast episode. We're going to completely forego the media corner and just go straight into talking about this movie. But much like when me and my brother talked about God of War Ragnarok, it'll be split into a spoiler-free discussion to start with, and then after that, we will get into a spoilery discussion. So we'll do spoiler-free discussion and then give our rating, and then after that, we'll jump into spoiler discussions where we get more into a deep dive of it. So, with that in mind, we're gonna jump straight into our spoiler-free discussion of the new Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Let's go!
Okay, so, the new Super Mario Bros. Movie, spoiler-free. Nick, what are your initial thoughts, like right off the top of your head?
Right off the top of my head, I would say one of my absolute favorite moments in the movie is when Bowser sings his song. I'm not going to say what song it is because it's on the soundtrack and it's public information, but it was good. It felt like Jack Black being Jack Black, because all I could hear when he was singing was Tenacious D. One half of Tenacious D.
Yeah, that's a very good point. All of the Jack Black stuff definitely just, like, a lot of the Bowser stuff honestly just felt like Jack Black being himself. Mm-hmm. It felt very Jack Blacky.
Oh, most definitely.
Jack Blackish. It's funny because that's a show. But anyways, yeah, I actually, I know a lot of people complain about the cast, and I do understand the argument for, voice actors needing to get more work and not be replaced by famous people all the time, but the cast in this movie all took their roles pretty seriously, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
But seriously to the degree of they tried to do it right for that character, but the movie itself does not take itself too seriously, which I appreciate. The movie, at times, I would argue, is even self-aware to a degree, and that was a good thing. They tackle Mario's voice, the issue with Chris Pratt's voice, and I will say I don't know if it was just because of fan feedback or what, but the line from the trailer that everyone had a problem with the first time, where he's very unenthusiastically, "Mushroom Kingdom, here we come," that line's not even in the movie.
No,
it's not at all. That part right there when he's it's completely silent when he's jumping across. I think they cut it. It might have been in the movie, but they cut it out.
Yeah, it was meant.
I think
it was one of those things that was meant for the trailer.
Yeah, that or it was like a Sonic situation where they decided to change it after the fact because of the backlash.
Yeah,
it's possible. It's possible. This is speculation, but from what I gathered from this movie, it seems like they may have re-recorded some of Chris Pratt's lines to make him be more Mario-y.
Yeah.
After the fan backlash, I get the feeling that maybe that might have happened. Now, obviously, I can't confirm that one way or the other because it's not. They haven't actually said that's what they did. But I get the feeling that they might have because when I was watching this movie, he seemed to double down on the wahoos and shit. Like he definitely like the let's a go. He did Mario's like catchphrases and noises, and I think he did the wahoo thing a lot. Like he was having fun with it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was a lot more enthusiastic than it came across in most of the trailers in the movie itself. So I think they may have re-recorded some of his lines.
Yeah, I think so.
It's entirely possible.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Doesn't mean that's what happened, but it's possible it could have.
Yep.
So who was the best performance for you then? Would that be Jack Black?
Yeah, I'd have to say Bowser.
Which, for being the main villain, didn't get as much screen time as I thought he would. But then again, they're trying to stretch a lot of things into a 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was a lot.
It's very stuffed. Stuffed full of Easter eggs and references, I might add, by the way.
Yes, most definitely.
Which a lot of it we'll have to talk more about in the spoilery section, but, like, I noticed so many things from so many different games. Now, this isn't a spoiler because it was in the trailer, but I think that little blue star that's talking about death and doom in the cages is supposed to be from Super Mario Galaxy. So those were nice references, and Luigi being in mostly spooky places is perfect for him because that's like Luigi's Mansion there. And we all know Mario Kart stuff was in it from the trailers, and there was Mario Kart stuff, and it was awesome.
Yes, it was.
I will say, and more details in the spoiler section, of course, but I wasn't expecting the Mario Kart stuff to be introduced in the way it was.
Oh, no.
Like, that surprised me. Like, the very first Mario Kart related thing that we saw, I was genuinely surprised to see it where it was and coming from the characters it was coming from. You know, like the origin of it is surprising to me, but also really cool. Seth Rogen made a good Donkey Kong, I think.
Oh, absolutely. They couldn't have picked anyone better.
Yeah, he had and I really like the way the power-ups are handled in this movie.
Yes.
They just I mean, they went through a bunch of them in the trailers, so I guess I was going to ask you a question, but I think I'll save it for the spoiler parts, just in case.
Okay.
I don't want to give away all the fun stuff that this movie does, and they didn't show all the power-ups in the trailers, so I don't want to spoil for people what some of the power-ups they use in this movie are.
Yeah.
But let's just say that if you've ever played a Mario game a day in your life, you're going to be quite happy with most of it.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
The Mario Kart parts had really good references to the weapons in the games, but there was like one in particular that it wasn't in the trailer, so it was a nice surprise when it happened, and that's one that cannot be spoiled.
Nope, absolutely not.
But I was pretty happy to see that. The movie itself, very entertaining kids movie that, like, if you grew up playing Mario or if you're a fan of any of the Mario shit in general, like, this is chock full of Easter eggs and fan service meant for fans of the game or, like, parents that grew up with the games that are taking their kids to see it because it's a cartoon. And it's a fun movie. It's a really fun movie. It's not doing anything extravagant in terms of narrative. What the main difference you're going to get here is that your damsel in distress is Luigi instead of Peach, and Peach is already combat ready in this reality. But the story is not too far off from the original Super Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins, because it is two plumbers who are working in Brooklyn, in the real world who get sucked into a fantasy world. And that's what happened in that movie, too. And this is kind of like the origin story, movie version origin story of how Mario first appears in the Mushroom Kingdom, how a human ends up in this weird land of creatures and stuff. And, the blocks and the coins and all that weird shit are just a part of their everyday life in this world, And I think that's cool. I think that was handled well. The story isn't doing anything groundbreaking, but it is, it's nothing more than a device to move things forward. At the end of the day, what this movie really exists for is to tickle your nostalgia. Mm-hmm. That's what it's there for.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a nostalgia tickler. But a very well done one. I would say it seems like video game adaptations are getting pretty good. Who else did we have in this? Anya Taylor-Joy was Princess Peach, by the way.
And what Fred Armisen was...
And yes, we had Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong, which was interesting. Nick here thought it was Larry David.
Yeah, a little bit.
At first. So, is there what would you say was your favorite part of the movie, like, spoiler-free? If there's, like, maybe apart from the trailers or something that's not plot-heavy, you could talk about. We can do a spoiler favorite part, too, but, like...
Oh, dude, I don't know.
Or maybe just a favorite aspect or concept, or maybe even, like, a reference to the games or something.
Oh, dude, anything that I say that I like is definitely going to be chock full of spoilers.
Oh, definitely a spoiler-heavy one, huh?
Yes, very spoiler-heavy.
Okay, so let's just say, well, what do we... so you said Jack Black was your favorite performance, but did you like everyone else's performance?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. No problems with anyone?
No, not at all.
They definitely used a voice changer for Keegan-Michael Key.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For Toad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot that he was Toad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't tell from the voice, but you can tell from the attitude.
Maybe not, because he did the voice for Toad on the Kelly Clarkson show when they were all on there for an interview to promote the movie.
Oh, huh.
He was on the Kelly Clarkson show,
and it sounded like it did in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so he actually did that.
He did some voice exercises and came up with that.
That would hurt my throat after a while. I couldn't possibly, but...
Voice actors.
I know.
Speaking of voice acting, there's this is a little off topic, but there's a documentary called I Know That Voice, and it's a bunch of voice actors that go into what it's like being a voice actor, and they even talk about one of the most legendary voice actors of all time, and that was the man that brought us the Looney Tunes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I think his name is Mel something.
Yeah. I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. It's Mel, but you're right. Mel something. So let's talk about the enemies in the movie. Because,
Koopas.
Yeah, not just the Koopas, though. Like, because there isn't much that they showed in the movie that wasn't in the trailers. So the enemies aren't really spoilery. But I think it was cool that they grabbed as far as they could into the grab bag. Because there were some blink and you'll miss it type things. Like, we did see a couple of, like, the fish.
Yeah.
Like, the Cheeps, I think they were called.
Yeah.
But they weren't, like, a huge deal. I don't know about the giant eel. I don't remember that.
Neither do I.
But that could be from something I'm just not recalling. But the Shy Guys, of course.
Yep.
The Dry Bones, the Skeleton Koopas. Mm-hmm. I remember them specifically from Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. Because they would be in the castle levels, and when you jump on them, they just fall into a pile of bones. But they would immediately, like, a couple seconds later, they would, like, get back up, resurrect.
Bro, when Dry Bones popped out for the first time, I jumped.
Yeah. It was funny. There is a part in the movie where there's I don't want to really call it a jump scare per se, but it's kind of in that ballpark, and it got him.
Yeah,
it got him here.
They got a good jump scare out of me.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely have memories of fighting with them in Super Mario World, and I distinctly remember the only way you could actually kill them is by shooting a fireball at them. Which I guess there are two power-ups we can talk about that's non-spoilery, the mushroom and the fire flower, because we already knew they were part of it from the trailers.
Yeah.
I love the way that they're handled in it. My favorite thing about the fire flower is that it changes the color of their clothes like it does in the games to like red and white, which is really, really cool. And it was cool getting to see characters outside of the norm. Like, I like that they let characters like Donkey Kong, for example, collect power-ups so that we could see, like, a cosmetic change on them. Like, that gave them the opportunity to play around with cosmetic changes.
Absolutely.
To characters like that. Which I thought that was cool. Peach's outfit when she has the fire flower is, like, way cooler than her normal outfit.
Yes.
Like, the white dress with the red trimming is way cooler than her normal pink shit.
Hell yeah.
So I definitely enjoyed that. Yeah, I think everyone did a good job. Like, when I first heard Charlie Day was going to be Luigi, I was like, well, that's perfect. Like, that's the absolute most logical choice right there.
All I could hear was Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But it was funny. It was good. He was a good Luigi.
Yeah. And yeah, I love, I can't talk talk this without talking about the soundtrack. The soundtrack to this movie is made up almost entirely of, like, remixed and reorchestrized versions of music from the games.
Absolutely, and it was amazing.
Yes, yeah, like, we heard the Mario Kart theme, we heard music from Smash Bros. At one point. Mm-hmm. All of the familiar Mario music, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know, it's in there. The sound effects from the games, the blue-loop and the wow, you know, and the shit like that. Mm-hmm. Like, the Shy Guys made their noises, the you know, that kind of stuff. Like, that shit was all in the movie.
Yeah, dude,
you know?
It was fucking amazing.
Other sound effects I'll talk about in spoilers, because there's one particular item during the Mario Kart section that I have to talk about in the spoilers spot, because it was... God damn, it was so well done.
It was.
That Mario Kart section was like, hey, what if Mario Kart was Mad Max? It was kind of what they went for there, I feel like.
Yeah.
It was funny. Mm-hmm. It was like almost Twisted Metal-y, right? Because
it was.
It wasn't power-ups based, but they all had weapons on their vehicles to begin with.
Like, I think Donkey Kong had, like, homing missiles on his.
The, barrel cannons.
The barrel cannons, yeah.
Which, that was another fun thing, too, that happened kind of later in the movie. The whole rocket barrel thing, I think, is actually a reference to a Donkey Kong game.
Yeah, and then you got the bullet bobs. Yeah,
the bullet bills. Bullet bills, they're called.
The bullet bill, that's right.
Yeah, the bullet bills and the bombs and all that. That one scene where everyone's throwing a party at Bowser's castle has, like, a grab bag of every, like, cannon fodder Mario enemy that you've jumped on in a Mario game since the beginning of time. It had the Goombas were the very first Mario enemy ever. Like, the original Super Mario Brothers, the very first thing you see when you start that level besides a block with a mushroom in it is a fucking Goomba.
Which is like a mushroom creature.
Yes, yep. And they did not get as much screen time in this as the Koopas, but... The Koopas are more closely related to Bowser. They've always been his... There's a reason they call them the Koopa Troopers. Mm-hmm. The Koopa Troopa. Mm-hmm. You know? I wonder if they do sequels, and we know they will, and we'll talk about why later, but... If they do sequels, I wonder if they'll introduce, like, Baby Bowser / Bowser Jr. Or, the Koopa Kids. Or something like that down the line.
Maybe.
That would be interesting. But yeah, I like this fish out of water concept. I like this whole Mario and Luigi are actually humans in the real world that get sucked into a fantasy world, and now it's just their new life kind of thing.
Yep.
You know, I like the whole. Did you get the whole our princess is in another castle joke?
Yeah.
Okay. that was awesome. All right, so yeah, there's not really a whole lot you can say spoiler free about this movie besides the fact that it's like Mario, you know. And this is the kind of thing that like a lot of people, even when you spoil it, like what are you really spoiling? You know, you already know how this movie's going to turn out. In the end,
So,
what you're really spoiling is the references and the Easter eggs and the winks at the audience.
I remember there was one other, because this wouldn't necessarily be spoiler territory.
Okay.
Because it was in, they basically put a QR code, I think it was at the end of one of the trailers or some shit, or there was a QR code in a trailer or some shit, and then it led you to the website, and the website has the commercial for their plumbing service that they did a commercial for in the movie.
Oh yeah.
And it basically was a throwback to the old Super Mario Brothers cartoon.
Yep, with the Mario Brothers rap with the plumbing
Yes.
thing.
They did an ode to the old TV show.
We're the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. When your sink is in trouble, you could call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
Yup. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was a nice little... And I just want to throw out there that Nintendo was directly involved in this, and so was Miyamoto. So, once again, just like with The Last of Us, and with, like, Sonic the Hedgehog movie, we have game developers and people who work in the gaming industry directly involved in the making of the movie. You know?
Which is always a good sign.
Yes. Usually, not always, but usually. More often than not, it's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's been a couple of times where it didn't make a difference, but lately it's been looking good. So it was nice to see that too. I mean, and like this is an Illumination movie, okay? So you expect Illumination humor to some degree. This is the same people that brought you Despicable Me and the Minions and all that. So, but it's very it's a very fun movie regardless.
Speaking of Illumination, this is the first Illumination movie to break box office records for like animated movie.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. But yeah, the movie is basically a fun time for the whole family. You can appreciate it if you grew up with the games. You can appreciate it if you're a newer fan, or you know, if you're just a parent taking your kid to see a cartoon movie, that's always an option too. But like Mario's been a thing since before some of us were born, you know. So it's definitely got a solidified place in history, in pop culture history. Like even people who aren't gamers know who Mario is.
Yeah, with the way everything was done in this film, I can't complain.
No, not at all.
This was a solid movie.
So this is one of those movies that for me, I like. I don't really have any complaints, but I might nitpick the fact that Mario doesn't like mushrooms. That just seems forced to me. I don't know why. Like that particular bit wasn't exactly. I don't know. It was just weird. It was just like, why would you do that? Why did you like? I get that it was supposed to be funny, but it felt more. I don't know. It's hard to explain exactly. It just seems like it just seems like you're desecrating sacred ground there a little bit. That I guess maybe is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
It kind of feels a little sacrilegious, if you will, a little blasphemous for Mario to not like mushrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that's the point at the same time, but it's still like. Anyways, though, that's not really a complaint. I will also say that like the movie really when the movie got good was when they actually like go to the Mushroom Kingdom. Although there is some slapstick shit that happens in the real world in the beginning that had Nick here laughing pretty hard.
Yes.
It was like a quiet theater full of people watching this, and this man was over here chuckling pretty loudly at this part. But it was funny. It was funny. So I say this because I want people to know before. Obviously, we're going to give our rating before we switch over to spoiler section, and I want people to know that this is not like some like disingenuous thing. Rating scales for me are not like if you don't get a perfect score, that means there is something wrong with you. It just means that like sometimes something can be good. It can be good and be almost flawless, but being good isn't always enough. Sometimes if you want those high numbers, you have to not only be good, but you also have to do something more. You have to go above and beyond to get that extra credit, like Lord of the Rings kind of shit. So this is a really good movie for fans of the Mario games as far as like entertainment and fan service and all that. But at the end of the day, it's still just a basic ass kids movie. So, and there are really good, like it's a kids movie, but it's not Puss in Boots, The Last Wish.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's not that quality. So for me personally, and again, this is not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with the movie per se. It's just it's good, but it's just good. It's not like like holy shit above and beyond good. It's just good. I would give it a solid 8 out of 10 would be my rating for it. I think people I think that's fair because that's a B on the grading scale, right? That's a strong passing grade.
I'd have to give it an 8.5.
8.5, you say?
8.5.
Okay. Yeah, I can go with that too.
It was decent.
No 0.5 for me, just an 8, I think. But yeah. Okay, so we're in the same ballpark at least.
Yeah.
I guess we both understand that it was a good movie, and there's not really anything wrong with it. It's just that it's also not like, it's not going to be an Oscar nom.
No.
It's not going to win any awards, but it's a popcorn flick.
Yeah.
That's the best way to look at it.
That's definitely got rewatch value too.
It does, because maybe you missed some Easter eggs the first time around. You want to go rewatch them.
Exactly.
Yep. So,
which I will end up doing at some point. I'm just ending up buying it.
Right, yeah, I'll probably buy it too. So, with that in mind, and we both gave our ratings, this is the end of the spoiler-free discussion of this movie. And now we are going to transition over into spoilers. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want it spoiled for you, now is the time to leave, go away, come back later and finish listening once you've seen the movie. Or if you've seen the movie and you want to hear the rest of this, or you don't care about spoilers, then continue to sit and enjoy as we transition over into the spoiler discussion of the Mario movie.
Yes.
That's right, Cooper. I'm gonna clean your pipes.
Alright, now we're in the spoiler-heavy discussion of the Mario movie. This is the part where there will be spoilers. You have been warned for the last time.
Yes.
So, now, Nick, give me your initial spoiler thoughts on this movie.
So, I loved the way they did the side-scroller part, an ode to the, original, Super Mario.
Oh, you're talking about in the city, when they're still in the real world in the beginning.
Yes.
And they're running real fast because the truck doesn't work, and Mario's like, we can still get there in time, and yeah, Luigi's struggling to keep up, but Mario's, parkouring the shit out of that place.
Yeah, he was.
And the camera angle turns so that it looks like a side-scrolling video game, like classic Mario.
Yep.
That was amazing.
The Rainbow Road was a nice surprise, too.
Rainbow Road was in the trailer.
Was it?
Yeah, for the Mario Kart parts.
Okay.
In the second trailer they released, I think.
Okay. Yeah, seeing Rainbow Road was really nice. I absolutely cannot stand that level in Mario Kart, though. That shit's got to be one of the more difficult levels.
It is a hard level. Speaking of which, they actually have, on Mario Kart 8 for the Switch, they've been releasing DLC tracks every couple of months. I bought the booster pack, so I get them, like, every time they come out. And one of the recent, like, a lot of them that they add are, like, updated versions of tracks from older games. But one of the ones they added, they occasionally add, like, a new original track in them, too. And the most recent download had, like, a Yoshi's Island track. Because that's one of the big things, folks. This movie has 2 credit scenes, mid and post-credit scene. And the mid-credit scene is just some funny Bowser stuff, but the post-credit scene shows us that the next movie will have Yoshi in it.
Yes. Yoshi!
Kind of like they did with the first Sonic movie, where they brought in Tails in the post-credit scene.
And then in the second one, they had,
Shadow.
Shadow.
Tails and in the credit scene, they had Shadow.
Yeah. Shadow. So I'm really hoping they bring Jim Carrey back as Dr. Robotnik for that.
Right. But anyway, yeah, I really loved that. Speaking of the Mario Kart stuff, the thing I was trying so hard to avoid talking about was the blue shell! Yes. I loved that was in there, because it was actually a Koopa inside a tank that was chasing them for a while. When they finally defeated him, he was like, you cannot escape me. And, like, at first, when he walked out of that explosion, I was like, oh, come on, he survived that shit? What a load of malarkey. But then when he said, you cannot escape me, I was like, okay. And then he said, blue shell. And I said, oh, shit. Now I get it. And, like, I immediately had holy fuck flashbacks to all those times that I got screwed over in Mario Kart from the blue shell.
The blue shell always.
And always. When it showed up and the noise it made, it did the whole thing before it fucking smashed into them. I love it.
Absolutely.
It was so well done.
And the way they had Jack Black doing Bowser, the last thing I expected was him to, like, ask her out and ask her to marry him. Okay,
so that's from Super Mario Odyssey.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one on the Nintendo Switch. And the part of the thing
I've never played it.
The part of the thing with that game is that Mario can, like, throw his hat at things and, like, take over those things. You can play as a T-Rex in that game if you throw your hat at it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's just weird shit like that in there. It was kind of like that newer Kirby game where you can, like eat a vending machine and be the vending machine, or like a car and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. In order to solve puzzles and shit. It was beautiful. That game was in my top 10 list last year.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was from that whole, like, Bowser wanting to marry Peach thing, and, like, his whole suit with the white hat and all that, all straight from Super Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
Totally and completely. So yeah, that was an interesting sideline, and it was really cool seeing Jack Black get to sing as Bowser.
Oh, yes.
Because it's literally just him. You know, just being Jack Black at that point.
Peaches, 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 peaches. Ah! Oh, yeah!
I wonder if he wrote his own lyrics.
More than likely.
For that song.
This is Jack Black we're talking about.
Yeah.
He can write a song off the top of his head in like 10 minutes.
Well, the way he was doing it, too, it just seems like something that he would do. You know
what I mean?
Like,
most definitely.
Peaches, 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 peaches. You know, that's very Jack Black.
And then we had an awesome cameo in there. We got the original voice from the video games of Mario made a cameo in the movie.
Yep.
That was a nice surprise.
Twice, actually. Once in the beginning and once in the end. Yeah. It was funny because it was like a nice nod to, like, how they're doing the heavy Italian accents in the commercial that they made for their plumbing service. But they use their normal Brooklyn accents outside of that.
Yep.
which was also really interesting to me. It's like the movie's way of being self-aware about the whole Mario voice thing and calling attention to it. So I was kind of glad that they did the things the way that they did them in this movie. Were you expecting it to open on Bowser?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't expecting it to open on Bowser at all.
Yeah, that was interesting how they started that off. So those penguins that he infiltrated, those penguins are, I believe, from Super Mario 64, from the Frozen world.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I know I've seen some of them in the Frozen World tracks and some of the Mario Kart games.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Because Mario Kart and Mario Party and stuff like that is all built and based around like existing assets from previous Mario games.
They had some awesome Smash Brothers references in there too, like the big battle between Mario and Donkey Kong.
Not only that, but that was also a reference to the original Donkey Kong game because he was throwing barrels at him and shit.
Yep.
And some of the beams that they were jumping on.
Yep.
And then when Mario got the cat suit, that was from Super Mario 3D World.
Yes.
Super Mario 3D World, which was a Wii U game and was re-released on the Nintendo Switch. Also, Super Mario Land on the Nintendo 3DS also had the cat suit.
Do you think in the next one we'll see Dr. Mario? Because we didn't really see him in this one.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, there was a stint where Mario decided to be a doctor for a while, so... There's actually, like, a video out there that, like, breaks down the entire timeline of all the Mario games in chronological order.
I like that they put the raccoon in there, too.
The Tanuki suit.
Yeah, the Tanuki suit.
Yeah, they call it raccoon, but its official name is the Tanuki suit, which they added a feature to it that doesn't actually work. Yes, in the game, you can jump really high when wearing that suit, because he, like, wags the tail and stuff. And that's from Super Mario Bros. 3, that Tanuki suit. In fact, he's wearing it on the cover art for that game.
Okay.
But he can't spin the tail around to fly like that in the video games. That's not a thing in the games. They added that to the movie. In fact, the whole time he was doing that, all I could think of was Tails from the Sonic movie, from the Sonic games.
Right.
Because that's exactly what he was doing, using his tail to fly. Which, by the way... Luigi got lucky as shit at the end there because there's no way he would have lived if Mario didn't catch him.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but like as close as he was to the lava at the end there, like even though he didn't touch it, he still would have been pretty burnt up just from being that close to it.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no way he survived that shit.
No.
At all.
Hell no.
But yeah, still. So what was your favorite power-up in the movie? Now we can talk about all of them.
I liked the growing power-up.
The mushroom, the regular Mario mushroom.
Yes, yeah.
I have to say it was the ice flower from the wedding that Peach used at the wedding.
Yeah, to freeze Bowser.
Yep, and among other things.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice little surprise. That one also made her dress look really cool.
They did. She was throwing ice like Elsa.
Yes, yeah, because the fire flower is a thing in the older games. The ice flower, I think they added in some of the newer ones, like New Super Mario Bros. Wii and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a cool one. The star, of course, ended up being exactly what I expected it to, because if you ever played a Mario game and got the star, then you know it makes you invincible for a little while, and you can just kind of like run through everything.
Yep.
And anything you touch will get knocked out. You pick up the star and it goes da-la-da-da-da-la-da-da-da-la-da-da-da-da-da, and then you just like running through the level, and every enemy you touch goes clunk, clunk, clink, clunk, you know. So it was really cool seeing that, like, in movie form, where they're just, like, bum-rushing the enemies, and they just, like, throw them all kinds of places. Bowser's a fool for trying to fight them while they have that star power, because there's literally nothing you can do.
Yep.
I will say, though, slight unfair advantage in the movie. In the video games, that power has a time limit, for obvious reasons. But in the movie they treat it like every other power-up where you hold on to it until you get hit and then you lose it. or they held on to it for either that, or they managed to just kick everyone's ass within the amount of time that they had within that star, because that star power did disappear after the fight.
It did.
So maybe it was still on a time limit, like in the games. But I do like that they added that that you lose your power up when you get hit, because that's exactly how it is in the games.
Yeah.
You know. Because I remember Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario World, you know, you'd have the power up. You'd pick up the mushroom and you go wah wah wah, and you get all big. And then if you got hit by something, it would go dooku dooku dooku, or it'd go like meow meow meow. You know, go down.
While we're on the topic of Super Mario, I wanted to talk about the Super Mario World that they have at like Universal Studios Orlando and Universal Studios Hollywood. At some point, I would love to go and see what they have, because I know they have a live action version of fucking Mario Kart that you can ride around in your own cart designed after the video game.
That's pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, so another video game related thing that I really appreciated was when Luigi is first in the Darklands or whatever, and he first runs into Dry Bones, which is where you got jump scared. He's moving the flashlight back and forth across the screen. At one point, he pans past, and there's a Dry Bones in the light.
Yeah, it reminded me of Luigi's Mansion almost.
Yeah, which is that was really good. Too bad there wasn't any booze involved, and it would have really been like Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But we did see a Boo in the movie, though. We saw King Boo at the wedding.
Yes.
And we also saw King Babam at the wedding, who is from Super Mario 64. A lot of people remember he's like the first boss battle in Super Mario 64, where you get to the top of the hill and you have to, as he's like stomping towards you, you have to like run around behind him and pick him up and throw him onto the ground 3 different times to win that fight. But he went kaboom in the movie. Peach got him with that spear. So, but yeah, I was gonna say the whole thing with Dry Bones. So when Luigi finally knocks him out and he falls to pieces, I immediately knew that it was gonna come back together and resurrect, because that's how it worked in the games. Yeah. Whenever you would jump on one of those motherfuckers, they would fall into a pile of bones, but then 2 seconds later they'd come back. You know, and I was like, oh, he's gonna come back. Like, I was expecting, I saw that shit coming a mile away. You gotta kill him with a fire flower power-up. I will say, it was really crazy how quickly Luigi adapted to the whole power-up thing at the end of the movie, because this whole time he'd just been trapped in this world. He never got the experience that Mario had, but yet, at the end of the movie, when they both get the star power-up, he's like neck and neck with him on combat, like, prowess, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like he was keeping up with him like he'd been doing this shit the whole movie too. You know, it's a little convenient. Oh, so yeah, I want to talk about the first Mario Kart thing that we got in the movie was when they go to the Donkey Kong area, and you know the doorman is like, all right, hop in the cart, and he's driving them around, and you're like, oh, this is Mario Kart. So the Kongs invented the Mario Kart concept in this world.
Yes.
You know, and that to me was pretty cool, because they use it, it's their mode of transportation. It's literally how they get around in their area, you know. And I thought that was pretty cool. They even did the like more modern Mario Kart shit too, where they got the ramps and they got the gliders and stuff like that. They did all of that. And then when they're making their carts, Mario, Luigi, and Toad are making their carts, the little wheels that they scroll through are like exactly like in the Mario Kart game when you're scrolling through those menus to put your cart together.
Yep.
It was really cool to see that, because that's how it is in Mario Kart 8.
An ode to the video games.
Yeah, this entire movie was an ode to the video games, quite frankly. That's literally all it was like just like 90 minutes of Easter eggs and fan service and stuff from the games. I love seeing Mario and Donkey Kong team up at the end and like blast through those enemies, going through the pipes and shit. There was so much fun about this movie. So many really cool, good things to enjoy. So, what would you say was like? Okay, tell me your least favorite part of the movie, or something, if anything, that bothered you, or maybe something you didn't like, and then tell me your favorite part of the movie.
Okay, so I would have to say my least favorite part. You mentioned it earlier. It was I know this is gonna sound, I don't know. My least favorite part was the fact that that Luigi was the damsel in distress in this situation. It should have been like Peach, but I understand the direction they went with it because she was already combat ready.
Yeah, she had her. I will say, I noticed when she finished that obstacle course, really cool obstacle course, by the way. You know what that reminded me of was like the training montage in Disney's Hercules.
Yes.
But anyways, that obstacle course, you know how she like used her dress to float down at the end of it?
Yes.
So two things there. Not only did she grab the flagpole at the top, that which is from all the Mario games.
Yes.
You know, the original one, you wanted to like, the closer you got to the top of the flagpole at the end of the level, the higher score you got.
Yes.
But also her using her dress to float around like that is from Super Mario Bros. 2, which was the first game she was playable in, where some of the characters had like a kind of like a sort of different advantages to them. You had Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad. You could play as each of them, and each one had a different advantage. And hers was the fact that she could glide using her dress. It's also a thing, or it was a thing in Smash Bros., but I think in more recent ones she uses an umbrella instead to float down.
Okay.
But, okay. What was your favorite thing?
Absolute favorite?
Yeah.
I would have to say my absolute favorite part of the movie was the part where Mario and Luigi consumed the star and beat the ever living shit out of Bowser and his Koopa Troopas.
They go on a star power ass kicking rampage.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
they saved the day.
That was really fun. I enjoyed that as well. I would say, so I'm not really bothered by the whole Luigi being the one in trouble thing. It makes sense in this story because he got teleported to, the wrong place. But just like Mario, he's a fish out of water. If the roles were reversed, Mario would have been the one that was kidnapped. It would have been just as easy for it to happen to him because he wouldn't have had the advantage of being able to meet someone who could teach him about this world. Luigi got thrown into a very shitty area with no knowledge of what to expect. And yeah, it was kind of just not good for him. But I get my only complaint about that is that I don't feel like he got enough screen time, maybe. The movie definitely wanted to focus on Mario and Peach more than anything else.
How, like when Toad brought Mario through the mushroom people area, where he just to get people's attention, he goes around saying, "Hey, this guy's brother is gonna die indefinitely," and Mario looks at him and like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
It's just to get everybody's attention.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, "Don't worry, we're totally gonna save him." Like, no, you're not. I don't think so, man.
No.
But they did. No, of course they did.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of stories that have to end that way.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, I think the little star guy was funny in like a really fucked up kind of way.
Yeah.
I love that dark humor stuff. And it's very juxtaposition-y because it's all this, like, dark, demented, nihilistic, we're all doomed, embrace the sweet release of death kind of stuff, coming out of a voice that sounds like a 4-year-old child.
Yes, that was fucked up.
That's what I liked about it. But I feel like they kind of overdid it when they threw him there at the very end, too. Mm-hmm. Although the saxophone Mario Brothers theme was nice, but the
Yes.
I feel like that little star creature lost its edge at the end. Like, he was fine the way he was before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I laugh, though, when they go to lower all the prisoners into the lava, and he's like, finally, mercy.
Yes.
Like, I wonder how long that thing has been trapped there to have gotten into that kind of Stockholm syndrome. Like, you know, like, how long do you have to be prisoner to finally be like, death is my goal now, you know?
Yeah, that was definitely an emo star.
Yeah, that was, I did like that, though. I do like that kind of weird shit.
It reminded me of Eeyore.
It's hard to say what my favorite part of the movie is in particular. I would say in general, I like all the parts where it gets very gamey, where they're like running across blocks and shit, and they're like when they're doing the obstacle course, or like when they're doing the Mario Kart stuff, you know, and you'll get like sound effects from the games and stuff, like all that stuff right there, just like
all the stuff that like tends towards the games and shit.
Yeah, had my inner child just laughing for glee, just super happy, that kind of thing. That was the kind of stuff I liked.
Oh yes.
I don't know if I had a least favorite. You know, to be honest, I think I didn't enjoy the part in the beginning with the dog and the plumbing and all that stuff as much as you did. You were laughing your ass off at that, but I felt like that entire scene was a waste of time. That could have been better utilized with more Mushroom Kingdom stuff or something.
Yeah, it was funny though.
I mean, I know that they had to put their... I know that they had that. I didn't care about any of the real world shit. I just wanted them to get to the good parts.
I was the only one laughing at that one.
That's why you were like the sole person laughing in the theater. It was what I found funny is like because the shower started filling with water and the dog was trapped in it. You're like, oh no, that poor dog. And I didn't want to say anything because like we were in the theater and I didn't want to make a discussion out of it here. But I was like, you know, those showers don't go all the way up to the ceiling, right? Like he's gonna float over the top. And then of course, 2 minutes later, the dog's sitting there at the top of the fucking shower, smiling down at them because he's about to climb over and out.
Because Luigi fucking broke his bone and he was pissed.
Yeah,
oh shit.
Yeah, that dog. That's the other thing too. I hate when that kind of shit happens. Like, what owner lets their dog get away with this nonsense? Like, if you're gonna have a technician, a plumber over something, put your fucking pets away when they're over there, man. Like,
that part.
They get in the way, you know?
The one thing that irritated me was the fucking lady that was sitting behind us. Like, come on, turn off your phone. Your phone was ringing and you answered it. Left, came back, and just y'all were talking the entire goddamn movie.
Yeah, I didn't hear her phone ring, but I knew she was going to be a problem the moment that she sat down behind us and started talking to the people she was with, the kids, and she was like, she didn't even try to whisper. She was just speaking at normal talking voice volume.
Yeah, I'm telling you, get fucked, Karen.
Thank you. Yeah, thankfully it didn't ruin the experience for me too much, but it was. She was a little annoying a couple of times, and I swear I kept seeing the same people come and go twice out of the theater.
Yep.
Like the lady and two kids. Did they need refills that much?
I drank all of my pop. I ate all my popcorn. I ate all my pretzel bites, and I waited to leak the lizard after the movie. Yeah, because for me, I usually, when it comes to movies, if it's my first time seeing it, I'm not leaving. Doesn't matter how bad I gotta take a piss. Exactly.
Unless it's an emergency thing. I think there's been 1 or 2 times where I made an exception, but for the most part, you know.
This was something I did not want to miss.
Right. And I won't even go to get refills. If someone's with me and they want a refill, they better get their own damn refill, because I'm not going. You know, once it's gone, it's gone. I'm paying attention to what's happening on the screen at this point.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this movie, man, I enjoyed it overall. Like I said, I gave it an 8, you gave it an 8.5, but, just getting into the spoiler discussion, is... Like I said, I knew the spoiler discussion was mostly just going to be filled with talking about the references to the games and stuff like that, and... You know, just some of the lines and jokes and other things that they do and talk about. But, I was just... I think the blue shell might have been one of my favorite parts of the movie, too, if I'm being honest.
Yes, absolutely.
Just the way that was brought on, where he's like, you cannot escape me, I am the blue shell. And, like, I was ready to argue with the movie, but I thought about it for a second. I'm like, it's not wrong. You cannot escape the blue shell. And, unless you have like the earthquake horn thing or whatever the fuck it is. It's like the only thing that works against it. But, yep, a solid, enjoyable movie overall, but it's not the kind of movie that you can really get into like a deep, dedicated 2-hour discussion about, because there's not really a lot there to work with. It's not it's not a think piece, it's not a character development heavy movie, it doesn't have social commentary, it's not trying to teach a lesson or give you a message. It's literally just like an adventure movie, just like fish out of water, get sucked into a fantasy world and recruited to help save the day kind of thing, like Chronicles of Narnia type shit. Which even then, Chronicles of Narnia actually has a lot more to dissect than this movie does. Because that actually has like metaphors and stuff. This movie literally just exists as a device to spoon feed you a bunch of Mario references. And it's the kind of movie where you turn off your brain for 90 minutes and you just shut up and enjoy it.
Exactly.
You don't overthink it. You don't, it's not that kind of thing. It's not Citizen Kane.
No.
Okay?
No.
It's not.
No.
It's just, so this is not the kind of movie, like, if we were talking about, I don't know, like The Last of Us, we could be on this for 5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
This is not that kind of thing. This is a very simple kids movie with nostalgia reference for gamers. It is a fun time. Like, take your kids, take your parents, take everybody, take your cat, take your dog. Everybody will like this movie, because it's just fun. It's just a fun family movie for people of all ages. And there's not a whole lot much more you can really say about it, honestly.
No, not really.
I mean, it's also only a 90-minute movie, and I could easily just run down what happened from beginning to end in a matter of 20 minutes. So it's I loved the performances, I loved the references, I loved the visuals, I loved the enemy variety that they had from the games, the power-up variety that they had from the games. I love that they didn't just condense it down to like a couple of things from the earlier games. I like that this was a huge grab bag of things from all over the Mario universe. That was really... And the fact that even Donkey Kong is technically his own thing from his own game series, and they brought him into this too. And made him, put his world as part of the Mushroom Kingdom, which is pretty cool. And the Kongs have like a whole army. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I liked all that stuff. That was really, really fun. You have any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Not that I can think of, no.
Alright, nothing else that... I guess... So, I guess before we wrap it up, considering where this movie went and considering the literal Easter egg at the end with Yoshi's egg hatching... Yoshi! If they're gonna do a sequel, where do you think they're gonna go next with the story? What do you think? Do you think they'll do like maybe a Yoshi's Island type thing?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Like
that would be amazing. Yes.
Oh, before I forget, speaking of Yoshi's Island, we did get a flashback with Baby Mario and Baby Luigi.
Yes, we
in this
did.
movie. I forgot about that, and they looked just like they did in their games. Because there was the original Yoshi's Islands games, which take place in the in the video games when Mario and Luigi are just babies. Because in that first game, you are playing as Yoshi, trying to protect Baby Mario and get him home because the stork dropped him.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be something like that, but I'm thinking like if they're gonna bring Yoshi into the next movie,
they should do something like Yoshi's Island or something.
Not Yoshi's Island per se. That's not what I should have said because it's a little late for that in terms of because Mario's not a baby anymore. But But I'm thinking more like Super Mario World, the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah.
That one had there was a feather that gave Mario a cape. That's a power up we didn't see in this movie.
That's true.
By the way, the cape feather we didn't see that.
Who do you think would do the voice of Yoshi?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, because they didn't tell us in the cast listing who voiced Yoshi, did they?
No, I don't believe so.
I didn't see that either. That'd be a really good question. It'd have to be somebody who can do that kind of squeaky voice thing.
Yeah.
I would have to think about that. And maybe even look some people up and see. Maybe... No, I was going to say Tom Kenny, but I don't know. That's the voice of SpongeBob.
Yeah.
But he does other things too. He's in a lot of stuff. He can change his voice a bit. I don't know about Yoshi, though. Maybe. I could see it. I could maybe see it. Alan Tudyk?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm sure.
he changes his voice sometimes, right? Because he was the chicken in Moana.
He was. Hey.
Hey, yeah.
I love that. That's my dad's spirit animal.
Nice. So... I don't know. That's a really good question. But I want to see them... Okay, so Bowser's obviously pissed and he's going to want revenge. And Yoshi's going to be included. So I'm thinking a Super Mario World story. Because in Super Mario World, Mario and Yoshi together, Bowser kidnaps the princess, blah, blah, blah. And Mario, with the help of Yoshi, goes to each of these castles. Each one's run by a different Koopa kid. One of Bowser's, 8 kids. And you have to fight each of them in turn until you finally reach Bowser at the end. I'm thinking it's going to be something like that. If they're bringing Yoshi in and Bowser wants revenge, it's going to be that kind of story, I think. Perhaps in the second movie, Peach will get kidnapped. Maybe it will be her the second time around. Because it seems like Mario and Luigi are getting acclimated to living in the Mushroom Kingdom now. From what we saw at the end of the movie, looks like they actually left their home world and moved into the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
And that's where they are now. So I'm thinking that by the time the next movie comes around, they'll have been living there long enough to know, where to go, what to do.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So, maybe even a new threat. Maybe they'll even introduce some new characters in the extended Mario universe. Do you think we'll get Princess Daisy?
Or maybe...
in the next movie?
Maybe even King Dedede.
King Dedede's from Kirby.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Diddy Kong was in this movie, by the way.
Yes, he was.
They mentioned him
briefly.
by name, and they cut to him in the audience a couple of times during that fight. The other two monkeys sitting next to him, the girl on his right and the bigger dude on his left, were I want to say Trixie Kong and what was his name? Like Chunky Kong or some shit like that?
Yeah.
They're from other there was 3 Donkey Kong Country games on the Super Nintendo. The first one had Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. The second one you played as Diddy Kong with Trixie Kong being your sidekick. And the third one you played as Trixie with Chunky being your sidekick. So that's what they were referencing there, was those ones. And then there was Donkey Kong 64 that had Donkey Kong, Tiny Kong, Lanky Kong, and Chunky Kong.
Yes.
Or whatever. And of course, Cranky was part of all of them. So, I was expecting Cranky Kong to have more of a grouchy old man voice, like, get off my lawn, you young whippersnappers. It did catch me off guard with his voice a little bit, but also... his voice still works, I wasn't sure what I thought of it until you said that you thought it was Larry David.
I was going to say, yeah, he sounds like Larry David.
And then I looked at it like that, and I was like, okay, I could see that. Less of a grouchy old man and more of a crazy old man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. That's what they're going for in this one, So I could see that. I could definitely see that. Oh, man. So... I'm excited to see, since this movie was successful from what we can see, it will definitely probably get a sequel. They're planning for it with that credit scene, so...
Oh, yes, definitely.
I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
I just hope it doesn't take too long.
No, not at all. Yep. So
Maybe not have it out next year, but the following.
So I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. We both enjoyed it. It was a fun time. It was a nice little outing.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's pretty much our thoughts. Usually, I know that my thoughts on movies are usually a lot more like well spoken and like deep, broken down philosophical stuff. You know, like you've got like if you heard me talk about some of those movies on the 2022 Year in Review podcast, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I dug deep into some of those. Like I said before, this is not the kind of movie where you can really dissect it like that. It's just not. The nature of how this movie is played out just doesn't really allow for that kind of deep dive. Right. It's not that deep. It's really not.
It's just a bunch of references and Easter eggs.
Right. So, but I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. There were some nice, like, touching brother moments, you know, but outside of that, it wasn't really, you know, all that, it wasn't all that, like, going for something strong emotional-wise or, like, moral of the story-wise. This movie exists literally just to entertain you. That's its purpose. So.
It was very entertaining.
Yes. So. Anyways, with that in mind, that is our thoughts and review on the Super Mario Brothers movie. If you've seen the movie, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this, remember to go ahead and click that like button. So as always, I have been Justin, aka Oversoul, and you can find me on Twitter at Oversoul53, and of course here on the YouTubes as well. And you...
I am Nick the Vaping Fiend. You can find me as such on Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. On TikTok, it's the.vaping.fiend. Otherwise, just solid one word, The Vaping Fiend, on Twitter and on Twitch.
Alright. And, that'll be it for this little bonus episode of the podcast. Short and sweet and to the point. Thank you all so much for listening, and look forward to the next official episode coming in about 2 weeks. Thank you, and goodbye, everybody.
Bye!